What is shaking? Adam Copeland, Tom Tolbert with you. Today on Z Program, Michael Thompson's going to join us, talk a little Lakers, Warriors, Lakers, Nuggets. Bobby Marks, ESPN. We'll get into the Warriors and salary cap and what they're going to have to do to keep this team together. Does he think it's wise to keep the team together? All those sort of things. And then Bags will join us at 5:15 as we mark the end of the Warriors season and the end of the Giants season. No, I'm just kidding.
It's like May 15th. Tough deal for the Giants. What are they, 17 and 23?
17-23,
40?
Yeah, the record's not terrible, but
it's not good.
They got some issues. They have some issues. I mean, if you prorate that, that's 24 games under 500. At the end of the
I didn't want to prorate it. I was like, if we average this out, it looks even worse.
Yeah, if you're prorating's not good at this point, but they have some issues. They have some issues, so we'll get into that as well. So, yeah, not a for the Bay Area sports fan, not a super happy Monday. Hey, Monday, everybody's going, when does camp start?
Yeah.
When's training camp start?
I was looking at Bijan Robinson video this morning. He's like doing an interview. I was like, it's too sunny to be watching somebody talk about football right now. I was like, it didn't, you know what I mean? When you get that weird, it's kind of like when you think about baseball in the thralls of December. Like if you're watching a Niner game and they're battling it out with the Seahawks or something, it's tough to get hyped about thinking about how good Casey Schmidt is or wanting to be hyped about a Casey Schmidt at bat. I kind of go through phases like that. I used to as a kid with video games where my brother and I have always played Madden in the football games during football season. Yeah. Because that's when they come out too. But then the game for basketball comes out and you're watching hoops and then you want to go play with Steph Curry in the game and so on and so forth. But I haven't played Madden in a couple of months. I've been grinding MLB The Show and NBA 2K and some other stuff. But yeah, it's basically all baseball now till we get to camp officially opening, but we'll have some of that news, and the NFL is going to bite out of that pie as soon as they can.
Absolutely. I just wait for NBA 2K to come out so I get my royalty check.
Yeah, right, because you're in that.
Exactly.
We should have done it this year. We'll have to find the Run TMC team and see if they've updated your ratings or your attributes at all, because Tom was in the game last year.
I haven't played forever. How could I be updated? Well, how could I get better? They
changed the attributes. Well, do you remember last year we ran through, I think it was in NBA 2K22, we ran through the attributes, and you were pissed because the one thing that you were mad about was that you should have been faster than Mully.
Well, that's a given. I mean, there's no doubt about that.
Well, and I think they had your speed rating out of 100 at 40-something, and Mully's was in the 70s. Because then it raises his overall.
Yeah, literally, I'm telling you, my speed, if his is in the 70s, I would be an 80.
Yeah.
Bro, I ran like a 4.840. I'm not
Do they do 40 times for basketball? Is that a thing?
I played football. Remember, I played football just to get in my hip.
You carry that into your basketball recruiting.
Well, I
think speed, 40 before the hit.
I think speed translates, does it not?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
speed translates. Speed travels. They say
you can crack on my game. Don't crack on my speed. I was pretty fast.
We've had our fun.
2K.
We've had our fun now, Tom. Speaking of speed, the Lakers ran the Warriors off the floor on Friday night. It was kind of lifeless. It never.
Second half was.
They never led in the game, I don't believe.
Nope.
And the Lakers gave the opportunity to the starters, and they shot the lights out. They were all efficient. LeBron was fantastic in all aspects. AD played a championship role, I thought, for them at center. He was efficient. He got to the free throw line. What do you have, 20 rebounds or something in the game too? A couple of assists also. They played 40-plus minutes, both of those guys. Austin Reeves was incredible. They got Lonnie Walker production in 14 minutes or something off the bench. He had double-digit scoring for them. I mean, everybody emptied the bench because of the way the game was going and the way it played out. But outside of Steph, no starter in single digits. I saw Draymond's aggressiveness early. I think Draymond was trying hard to ignite himself and ignite the team. And at one point, he fired a three from the corner that he clanked, went up and got an and one, I think, and he went to the free throw line. And he looked like he was trying to get things going and trying to be the heartbeat of the team, but it was just too much. They shot the lights out. Warriors made the same number of three-pointers, but at 13 out of 40-something three attempts?
Yeah. They weren't efficient.
It was a tough game. It was a tough game. The Lakers stars came to play. Anthony Davis, I thought, was too much in every element that he needed to be too much for the Warriors in, and he didn't have to do too much because LeBron took over a lot of the efficient scoring, as did Austin Reeves and D'Angelo Russell, 7 of 15 for 19 points. So they were efficient across the board. The big deal for me is the three-point shooting, 13 of 26 for the Lakers, 13 of 48 for the Warriors.
Yeah, look, you very rarely will you see Draymond be a minus 26. A minus 26. But it wasn't just him. Wiggins, minus 26. He had a reason. Clay, minus 33. Steph, minus 21. I mean, the only guys that were positive were the bench. That's because the bench was out there late. But other than that, Anthony Davis was a plus 31. Like, he was a monster this whole series. There were a couple games maybe he didn't score as well, or one game. But other than that, he rebounded. He was a roadblock in the paint for those guys. And like, ultimately, come to find out, 82 games matters. As much as we thought, okay, there's a possibility, I still always kind of leaned on the side that there's just no way you're going to win 11 games on the road and win a championship. That's where, but we went over this, where you keep getting kind of like drugged back in, thinking, well, okay, they got the little bit different roster and they're healthy, and these guys, when they're together, they don't lose, but they were never the same guys. Right. And I think it started with the punch. I think it was like you're trying to find their footing early on, and it took them a while to find it. And by the time they found it, they're like, 3, 4, 5 games under 500, and just trying to scrap and claw to get back to 500. And it took them forever.
They never stabilized
to get back to 500. They'd get to 500, and they'd drop below it. They'd go above it a game, then they'd come back to it and go down again. They'd go back up, and they'd go maybe 2 games. They'd drop back 4 games. Right. Like they could never get on a roll because they could never win enough road games to string wins together. And they had trouble on the road. They had troubles with their turnovers, and they've always kind of been loose with the ball, but they've always been talented enough to overcome that. They just weren't talented enough to overcome that. They struggled getting to the free throw line. They struggled keeping teams off the free throw line. That was a major storyline in the Lakers series. Major storyline. So, like, what ailed them during the regular season finally got them in the Lakers series. And it was fitting that a team that only won 11 road games throughout the course of the season was the team that ended their 28 straight series with a road victory. That makes sense. Like, of course they didn't win a road game.
That's how it was going to have to come to an end, yeah.
Yeah, they won 11 games. Yeah. I mean, but they won the last 2 in Sacramento, so you were thinking, well, maybe. And it wasn't meant to be this year. It seemed like they were just, I don't know what they were reaching for, but they were never able to quite get there. I don't know if they thought, once we get to the playoffs, we'll just turn it on. I can't tell you how many times I heard that after the games this year. We're going to be fine. We'll be okay. And I guess that's the only thing you really can say. But it's like, I don't know. Are you? I mean, they were still pretty good this year. They just weren't what we're used to. And maybe that's part of the problem, too. People were living in a fantasy land around here for 5, 6, 7 years and thinking, oh, this is easy. But it's not that easy. They made it look easy. They made it look a lot easier than it is.
And it got harder. And they still made it look easy because the league came back to their level of talent, and the game evolved around them.
Well, in 2015, teams couldn't match up with them.
Right.
Because they went to that small lineup, and they didn't have the personnel to...
The game wasn't there yet.
To combat that. They didn't have the personnel to combat their switching. And they switched, and then they went small, and the league doesn't have many post-up players, so Draymond can handle all those guys no problem. And Harrison Barnes is strong enough to handle most fours, and most fours are kind of stretch fours anyway, so you don't have the big, bulky guys anymore, so you don't have to have huge, hulking 4s and 5s. You got to have fast, wingspan, defend the 3, be able to switch off, and they did that way better than anybody else. And it took the league a while to catch up with them, and even at that, they were still trying to catch up to it when they had KD. And then when they had KD, it was just over. That's when the sloppy play and whatever they did didn't really matter, because they were just so overwhelming with their talent. A good 8-minute stretch during a game just put teams away. Like, their stretches, their runs were 8-0, 9-2, 10-3. They were like 22-4, and the game was over.
And they were loud
at that point. Yeah. So yeah, this isn't that. The guys are getting older now. Clay's older, coming off 2 major injuries. Draymond's older. Steph's older. I still think they're plenty good, and I think with the right people around them, they can still compete for a championship, but it's not going to be like it was where they're going to be favored, and you're going to look at the start of the season and go, oh, they're favored to win the championship. They might be one of those teams. They might be a notch below one of those teams. I mean, look, the West is not going to get any easier. Lakers, I think, will be good again next year. Phoenix is going to retool. Wouldn't surprise me if they tried to move Ayton or tried to move Paul and tried to open up some cap space and bring some guys in. They know they need to get a lot deeper. Denver is here. Denver's not going anywhere anytime soon. We'll see what the Clippers do. They got some decisions to make. And one of the teams, though, that I thought would be kind of on the cusp of really making some noise in the West was Memphis, and Memphis is just a mess. Memphis is a mess. Ja's a mess. At least he said...
did something happen with Ja?
At least Ja said, we're cool in the West. I don't know your definition of cool, but
you're cool on your team, bro.
You're not cool anywhere right now. You guys are not cool anywhere. East, West, North, South. I mean, just... what a disaster that has turned
would you
into.
be cool, Ja? Would you just be cool for like a half hour? Just like chill for a minute?
2-3 years ago, I thought, 2-3 years ago, I thought, oh, they're coming.
That's a scary team, right?
They're done. I mean, I don't even put them in the top like 5 anymore.
Yeah.
Like I just look at them and go, they're just a mess. Just an absolute mess. So I think the Warriors can still be one of those teams, but they're going to have to make some decisions. Which way do you want to go? Do you want to stick with the same crew and kind of run it back? Do you want to trade some guys and bring in some more vets that can help the team win championships right now, even though you might suffer the consequences 3 years from now? They got some decisions to make this offseason, no doubt.
Yeah, it's going to be it could be a tumultuous offseason, could be an offseason of a lot of change, both roster-wise and front office-wise. We'll talk about a lot of that a little bit later, especially with Bobby Marks and Michael Thompson, Clay's dad, going to join us at 2:50, of course, on the broadcast for the Lakers, and Andy Baggerly at 5:15 ahead of Giants pregame at 5:45 as the Phillies come to town to open up a series at Oracle Park tonight. Draymond Green, after the loss to the Lakers, 122-101 on Friday night, said the Warriors will be back, says they will win again. What changes would this Warrior team have to make, and what was the Warriors' downfall in this series? We'll talk a little bit deeper about it. We'll take your calls, too, on all this stuff. 808 KNBR, how you feeling this Monday after the Lakers take down the Warriors? I'm kind of peeved, man. I'm not kind of peeved. The last 2 times a San Francisco team now has seen an LA team in the playoffs. Giants and Dodgers and Warriors and Lakers. We've come up on the short end. I guess 3 now if we're going NFC Championship, too, against the Lakers, right?
Yeah,
last 3.
Rams, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
yeah.
I didn't mean to bring everybody down even more, but did
the Sharks beat the Ducks or the Kings anytime on the
what happened with the Galaxy and the Quakes last night? I saw they were scoreless into halftime. Oh, dude, Tim just looked at me, Tom, and he gave me the hand to the throat. Dude, don't bring up the 2-1 final. Oh man, yep. Tim looked at me and gave me the don't bring up that Galaxy match, dude. Heard over on 810 the spread, of course. 808 KNBR is the phone number to call and text. What changes would you make to this Warrior team? What was their downfall in this series against the Lakers? You can watch us live streaming on KNBR.com, on the KNBR app, and on YouTube, and you can check in on the Cass Creek text line 808 KNBR. That's also the phone number to call. It's a Monday following a Warriors elimination by the Lakers in the playoffs. Tolbert and Copes on the Sports Leader.